morning, my name is Adrian. Now I'm going to be showing you a little bit of the bed and restraints themselves. Now these restraints here, they are leather restraints with canvas backing. Now for this location specifically, they actually have them already set out. So this would be the ankles, all right? And then you have the wrist restraints up here. If you don't already have it marked, you should, because if someone is not familiar with the restraint system, they might mistake the ankle restraints to the wrist restraints. And you would be able to find out that they are wrist restraints because the ankles don't fit or vice versa. So with these locking mechanisms here, these are the button locking mechanisms, okay, where you would actually push in to lock them. So just like so. Now, when you are utilizing these restraints, you want to make sure that expedient delivery of these restraints is important. So when we are actually threading these through the eyelets, which I'll show you right now, and then we are threading this through, we want to make sure that we're maintaining pressure on the button as we're threading this through. Because this prevents us from trying to take our time to adjust it, and if we don't get it right, we push it, it's not going to go through. So we continuously press on the button as we're threading this through, and then it locks. Now, when we are, let's go ahead down here. When we're actually threading these through, the ankle restraints need to be at the end of the bed. So if we identify that this is where the feet are going to lie, then this right here needs to come down here, okay? When we thread this through, we're threading on the inside first towards the outside. Then we're going to bring this in, and like I said before, we're going to be consistently putting pressure on the button as we thread this through to lock it in place. Now, for my other person that's on this side, I want to make sure that we're communicating, because I could pull this restraint too far this way, they can in turn pull it too far that way, so we want to make sure that we're coordinating. This should be set up before you ever bring anybody in the first place, because if the patient's in here, then you're having to wrestle with them while trying to put this in place. This should already be all set up before we even get there. Now, when we set this up, and we're going to attach this, we want to make sure that when the ankle's in here, we bring this over and then you actually feed it into the eyelet. Now, when we thread this through, we want to thread it in here, right? Because this doesn't make any sense, because they can actually loosen up and leave and actually slip their limb out. So we thread this through, then we thread this through the eyelet like so, and then into the locking mechanism. This is actually locked. So we lock it in through the locking mechanism. You see where this hole's going to come up, so I'm going to be consistently putting pressure downward on this button and then locking it into place. Now, when that ankle is in this restraint, we want to make sure that we're checking for distal perfusion. Distal perfusion is like your capillary refills. So when you are doing the cap refills, right, it blanches white and then it fills in with red with your blood. So that should be less than 3 seconds generally for someone that's healthy. All right. So now that we have these set up, we want to make sure that we cover this restraint over here. So if you can come this way. So this wrist restraint should be on the second eyelet, okay? Not the first one, but the second one. Because the first one is actually going to be for the chest restraint. Now, there should typically be 2 of these type of straps. One for the thighs, and then one for the chest. Because if we only have the wrist and the ankle restraints, the patient can actually lift their torso up and slam their body, their upper body onto the bed. So when we apply this to the patient, we're threading it through here on the first eyelid, and we're actually going to be placing it over the chest and under the arms. We don't want to put it over the shoulders and arms, because this becomes a ligature risk where this can shimmy up and possibly actually choke them out. So making sure that there's appropriate distance between the strap and the chest, so where they still have a little bit of room, but they cannot lift their torso up, almost in a seated position, and then slam their body down. Now, with these ones, you want to make sure that you're monitoring their vitals at all times once they're here. You should only apply those restraints long enough until they control themselves or until the medication takes effect, and then you let them go. You don't leave them in here for an extended period of time if it's not indicated. Another thing too is that once there is any type of distress, then we want to get them out as soon as possible. So knowing that we all have keys, knowing how to unlock these is vital for the patient. We're going to